Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Sales Unscripted podcast. I am Margaret Henney.
And I'm Brian Neal here.
And we are so excited to be back with you. We took a couple weeks off, actually, mostly because we've been super, super busy.
Did we?
Yeah, it's okay.
I always forget because we record, in most podcasts, you don't record the same day. So sometimes I forget if we had shows lined up or not.
Yeah, that's why we're doing this at like 8:30 in the morning before our day starts. I was like, we got to get these in.
If the energy's a little off, that's why.
Yeah.
Are you like lifelong coffee person?
Not lifelong, but now
College?
I am.
When'd you start?
No, after college. After college.
Like how far?
I would say right away, probably in like my first or second job.
That's funny.
And I know, and it like never really appealed to me, but then it was like the whole like, I don't know, it's just like a habit and you see people and it's sort of a nice way to start your morning. And like, is coffee really that great for me? Like, no, probably not. Right. But
when I was, I never drank coffee. So I maybe had like a cup of decaf after a fancy dinner or whatever. When I was 41 years old, out of nowhere, for no reason, 41, I walked into a Starbucks and got a venti, whatever the regular coffee is.
Well, you just really went for it,
literally
didn't
out
you?
of nowhere. And I don't remember, it was cold, I know that. And I think I just got so much FOMO because everyone, and this is like, so 10, 11 years ago, Starbucks was even like, it's a bigger deal to be at Starbucks. It's like, at Starbucks. And I just felt left out. I'm just going to be honest. So I'm like, I drink coffee.
That's funny. I think that's why people in the 60s used to take up smoking.
Oh, there's no doubt. And because, you should ask your dad this, because the doctors were the advertisers. Did you know this?
No.
Ask your dad about this. In the 60s, and I say that because Margaret's dad is a physician.
Yes.
In the 60s, they didn't know, maybe they knew, they obviously knew because they got sued for it, that smoking was bad for you. They would have physicians as spokespeople. The physician would say, I smoke Marlboro lights, Dr.
Blah,
Henney.
Blah, blah. Dr. Henney does not smoke Marlboro lights, though. I will tell you that right now.
But that was a thing. Isn't that crazy? That you have your doctor would recommend your cigarette.
That makes me so icky. I can't even tell you. It's sort of like, buzzkill, but did you ever watch the show Dope Sick?
No.
Oh my gosh. It's all about the kind of pill pushing.
Oh.
And what's that terrible family? The Purdue family.
Oh, they got,
Yes. Oh, it's actually fascinating.
For the opioids?
But same thing. They were doing these kind of fake studies and told the doctors it's totally safe. And,
seriously?
Yes.
Oh, that's warped. I didn't know that.
It's crazy. You got to see.
Wonder
the series is really good, but you are kind of head scratching. Like, oh my gosh. So
nuts.
I know.
Nuts,
Bummer
nuts.
way to start the podcast.
So,
Sorry,
well,
man.
No. That's it's funny to talk about habits. So, and I'm not going to put you on the spot. I've never smoked a cigarette ever. 52 years old, never.
Okay.
No answers.
I'll just go over here. I'm not proud of it, Brian.
But I'm the massive minority there, And I smoked a cigar before, but you don't inhale that. So.
Well, I'll tell you why. This is not a good reason, but I'll tell you why.
I love when people, first of all, they have shame. Look at your face.
So much shame.
There's shame around smoking a cigarette. It's not shameful. Everyone was young. They did. You got caught up in the thing.
Okay,
and then everyone has their story of why they did it.
Yes.
So this is awesome.
I'll tell you why.
So Margaret's going to tell us her story.
I'm blaming Hannah Crowell.
Oh, there we go.
Poor Hannah Crowell will be like, what are you talking about? I haven't seen you in
That's true.
20
Everyone
years.
has a person.
Yes.
Right?
So
made them
my
smoke,
very first job was really cool. It was in Monticello, where I'm from, and it was at the B&K root beer stand.
Monticello, Indiana.
Exactly.
B&K root beer stand.
Yes. And there were car hops, and you would go out, and take their order, frosty mug, the whole thing. And it was like the cool girl place to work. No guys worked there, only girls. And so it was a very cool place to work. So anyway, there was lots of older girls there that were teaching me about boys and how to be cool. I don't know if it stuck. And Hannah and these other girls would sit outside and smoke, and I felt left out. I was well, I don't really want to smoke, but they're out there talking about interesting things. I want to know what the heck they're talking about.
What interesting things were they talking about as older girls? And at this point,
I cannot divulge.
In high school.
Yeah.
So older was probably they were 19.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they were 40.
No.
Right?
I was 14 or 15.
Yeah.
They were 18, 19, 20. Sometimes they would come back from college and work there in the summertime. I really wanted to know what the college girls knew. So
I just love the idea of you thinking in your 14-year-old brain. They're talking about interesting things. What is interesting to a 14-year-old in Monticello, Indiana? Right. Let's call that what it is, right?
Obviously.
So we're going to go smoke. It's so funny. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a person that made him smoke in some way, shape, or form, or gave him their first cigarette, taught him how.
I'm sorry, Hannah Crowell. Very nice
Hannah's
girl.
probably proud of that.
No problem. I don't know. She's like,
there's no judgment or shame around this.
You're right,
at all.
Right,
but everybody,
actually, a really funny memory. It was like actually a great summer working out there. We had a lot of fun.
Of course you do. So you have great memories about it, don't you?
Yeah, we listen to a lot of country music.
Yes, it's all smoking to me. For those who smoke, it seems to be a bonding element. It's almost always a bonding thing when it starts.
Like you do it because
you're right.
I'm good.
Kind of gross, but
I'm okay.
Okay, we should probably get into our topic.
We should. Okay. Gosh, wait. Which one are we talking about here first?
We're going to talk about the one with your brother.
Okay. Okay, so this is really funny. I thought about this, and as he was telling me the story, I was like, I'm totally going to talk to Brian about this.
This is great.
So the idea, they're renovating their home in Charleston, South Carolina. Very exciting. So he and his wife were doing like appliance shopping, hardwood floor shopping, you know, that sort of thing. And he was just going off about what an awful experience it was. Because, you know, he like does some research, but then you go in there and you're like, okay, I'm going to find out from you guys what the deal is.
Yeah.
Like essentially he went in and they were like, hey, what are you looking for? And he was like, I don't know. And then they were like, well, let me know when you find it.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I think it was just like way too hands off where they weren't asking good probing questions. They weren't curious. It was more of like, hey, I'm over here. When you find what you want, let me know and I can place your order for you.
Yeah, right.
And Matt's like, well, I mean, I guess I could do that myself online. What are you here for?
No doubt.
And, you know, just stuff that he was like, you know, he has an idea about what he's looking for, but nobody could get there and like and probe him a little bit about it and be like, okay, well, do you like to cook?
Right.
You know, let's start there. You're looking for appliances, like, or is it just for looks?
For looks. I have one of those actually. I have a stove that's just for looks in my
do?
house that came with the house, but it's like $20,000 stove.
I'll come over and cook
Italy.
on it.
You've never seen our stove?
I think I have.
The green one. It's green.
I don't know if maybe I haven't seen it.
Oh my God.
I'm always over by the bar.
It doesn't work. Right, exactly. Which one? Which one? We have 4
in the front
anyway,
room.
Exactly. We have to come over. Yeah. Sorry, I'm digressing. You're right. So
I just thought it was interesting because like, and he did say, he was like, hey, I'm thinking about like Viking this series, which by the way, they should hear. I don't know if you know much about stoves. If you don't, or appliances, Viking is like
it's high end,
top of the line, very nice. Viking's so good. Even as a salesperson, you'd be like, oh, totally. Okay, this could be a really good sale for me. And I get an idea of where this guy, you know, what he's looking for. Yeah. But instead, they just like weren't asking the right questions or trying to engage with him. And then he left just kind of being like, well, what the heck? I don't know. So he was like, you know, I just like right away, I was like salesperson versus order taker.
Yes.
What is your position?
Well, yeah. And this has been an evolution too, which I think we're going to talk about in our next episode, like the whole evolution of selling in general. This is one of the biggest mistakes that I see salespeople make. And I blame the managers. I blame the leaders or the owners of these companies.
Tell me why.
Owner of that place or the leader, that person's leader who dealt with your brother, is the first pivot point for this to be a problem. Okay. Because to me, it starts with the culture that we're creating on our sales team. And are we going to be order takers? And is that okay? And I allow that to be okay. Or are we going to be guides? Are we going to be advisors? Are we going to be educators?
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about product education either. I'm talking about helping someone make a decision.
Yes.
Because if you're listening to this and you're in sales, which
I hope so.
Guessing most people are.
So. Maybe you're just here for the banter.
For the Margaret smoking, the teen escapades of a young Margaret Penny in Monticello, Indiana.
So much shame.
Yeah. Well, don't worry, I can match your stories, but not on air. So go ahead.
I have a quick question for you because you said if they decide, okay, we're going to be order takers, we're going to be okay with that. Do you have a scenario when that would be okay? Because I'm kind of like fumbling trying to think like, okay, is there a situation where you are like, yeah, that makes sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, tell me
when your business model is strictly built on low margin and high volume turn, but then when you have that, what don't you need?
People.
You don't need people. You just need the internet.
I was going to say, you just buy on the internet.
If you're just selling stoves, if there's no value and people are just selecting things, then all you do is put the stuff on the internet and the price, and you can lower your price substantially.
Exactly.
Because you don't have a retail store and all that other baloney and no people. So you can much better price. Then business model wise, that's when you do that. But it doesn't sound like that's where they are.
No, it's not. I mean, shoot, there's a showroom, for crying out loud, right? You think if there's a showroom, you've got product to see, you've got decisions to be made. There are salespeople who are there who are not cashiers.
Right.
You know, they're out there assuming, you know, I'm thinking they're going to guide them. And I just think it just blows my mind because it just comes to like the natural curiosity again and just wanting to ask questions. Well, first of all, if someone came in there looking for a new stove, I'd be like, why are you looking for a new stove? You getting a new house? Are you renovating your house? Did your house burn down? What the heck? I don't know. Start there.
And you're naturally wired that way.
Yeah.
And you're trained that way. And your culture's that way at Covideo. And so many people are not trained that way or not wired that way, and their culture is not that. That's why I go back to blaming if I'm looking for a place to start. So the culture's got to change, number one, in a place like that. So if you're in a place where you've been taught and it's like, and there's a more sophisticated version of this. So that is a retail scenario. We're like, well, let me know. Right. There's a more sophisticated but still awful scenario, which someone comes into a discovery meeting in a business-to-business sales setting and says, so what can I help you with? What are your problems? Like even like we've been taught, like we'll find out their problems.
Yeah.
But the world's evolving more where you've got to share people what you see as a sales professional, talking to lots of people. Here are things that I observe. Here are the problems my clients have. Here's the most common thing I'm hearing right now. The Great Resignation. Hanging on to talent right now is one of the biggest issues we have. Trying to match compensation is a real problem. I lob these problems out to people, or I just tell people things to do even though they didn't ask. Not in a mean way.
Yeah.
But also like video.
Yeah.
This isn't, obviously this is not a commercial for. This is not what we do this podcast for.
No, but I am wearing the T-shirt today.
But it's nice to wear the brand. But I tell everyone, you've got to do video.
Yeah.
And I start there.
Okay.
And I'm like, we are a power user of Covideo. But there are other brands that you can use. You can use your iPhone.
Yeah, exactly.
Send video, but you've got to use video. Okay. So I feel like when salespeople take stands like that, think how strong that feels. To the person. They're like, oh my gosh, that guy, for no reason at all, other than trying to be a good.
Okay, you know what just came into my head?
Please.
Okay, so this should have come to me quicker from some of my
it's 8:30.
BZ training is expert persona.
Totally.
Expert persona, right?
Totally.
You walk into a store, and I keep using this, with the appliances, but it can apply to literally anything. But you come in and I want someone to be an expert on those appliances or just like the world of appliances in general, right? Yes. And so I need them to tell me what they know. What do people typically buy?
Yeah, totally.
What are their issues normally? What's the feedback you get? So not even necessarily personal opinion, that might come into it a little bit there too. Hey, this is what me and my wife own or, whatever. Yep. But, I don't know. Expert persona.
Absolutely. And beyond even the products, I think some people, when they hear this expert persona thing, and if you're just catching on to me and Margaret and our stuff, what we mean by that is it's really about being an expert in the person's scenario or the other person's business, even more so than product. So true. Definitely expert in the ovens, stoves, and stuff, or whatever you sell. Even more important, to not let the person make a mistake. Let's use it for instance.
Yeah.
So our deal. So Steph, my wife, is a really good cook and loves to do it, and we've got 5 kids, 3 are teenage boys, impossible to please, and it's like cooking for an army.
Yeah.
So you're making rice. You're making literally like 5 cups of rice. And it's,
that is a wild amount of rice.
It's out of hand. So, we use the stove sparingly. And the stove we have is beautiful. People come in it's like the centerpiece of the kitchen, and a very nice kitchen.
Cool.
And it is fucking awful. It never works, ever.
It's not functional.
Oh my God, it's horrible.
Oh,
no, it's the worst thing ever. There's all these little pieces and parts to it. And I know, gas stoves, kind of like handled to put together so they're all lined up. And it never works ever. We have to light it with a little thing.
So frustrating.
So annoying.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to cut it.
Right. So if I'm talking to someone who has my best interest in mind, and I say, look, we cook, a bunch, or we're not real whatever, we love this stove. He's like, look, this is a great showpiece. If you're into the decor of your house, you want this is a great thing. If you want something that works all the time, it's not this one.
Yeah.
It's this Viking one that literally is like one touch stove for dummies.
Exactly.
That's the one you need.
Yeah.
See that? and steering me in the right direction. Even if the stove that's the centerpiece is $20,000 and the Viking is $14,000, a lot of people listen and go, "Why would I downsell someone?" Because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, right.
It's the right
and they're going to be happier too.
Always.
So and you can get to that decision faster. Where you can turn someone over if it's an easier decision and it's the right fit for them, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, I spend less money. Perfect. Thanks for doing it. Great, love it.
Absolutely.
Thanks." I get to talk to the next guy or gal
totally.
too.
So what do you see? This is good because let's put it in a B2B setting for our listeners. Because I'm familiar with CoVideo and we use your product and I train your team.
Yep.
But you're in marketing now.
Yes, I am in marketing now.
Right.
Boom, boom, boom. Sounds like I've gone to the dark side or something.
Or the bright side if you want to look at it that way. Like, I escaped.
That's true.
Let's talk specifically about like video for selling.
Yeah.
Because I am a proponent of video for selling.
Right.
What do you hear the most in terms of resistance from CoVideo's buyers?
Yeah.
They say, "I don't know about this, Margaret, because what?"
Okay, you know what's really funny is almost everyone, when they see it, they're like, they get it. They have that light bulb moment and they're like, "Oh my God, it totally makes sense. Why haven't we been doing this? I get why it appeals to people."
Yeah.
And then probably the next thing that they do is try to backtrack on them making videos.
Right.
Or they're like, it's totally weird. It doesn't have to do with video. It doesn't even have to do with the process. Usually it's just about being on camera at first. And so it's kind of like, I tell people, hey, I get it. It's like voicemail times 10 at first.
Yeah, totally.
When you hear your first, you call your own phone or you hear your voicemail or whatever, and you're like, oh my God, is that what I sound like? And you're like, is that what I look like? Is that my mannerisms? Whatever. And so it takes a little coaching to get people over that and just to say like, hey, that's not the important thing. That's not what we're focusing on here.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. That's really one of the biggest things that people come up with first.
I agree. And they're afraid of video. And so we've got options there. So let's play out the old scenario where we're order takers.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, so I sell video software for salespeople, and the person's like, oh, I don't like to have my face, or I don't know my sales team like to have their face on video. Then we go, okay,
Probably
no
not a
problem
fit.
then. Never mind.
Okay,
no,
see ya.
we sell through that, right? We want to go, we want to coach them to say that's super normal. We have some processes that make it easier, right? We do some training for you and some coaching around how to make video more palatable for yourself. And what we found is when you take this coaching and go down this path, over time, just like anything else, it just gets a little easier and a little easier. Yeah. Then it just becomes so natural you don't even think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Push through that. You know what I mean? And that's advising people to say, yeah.
Well, because if you're an order taker, the idea is that you have the assumption that the client knows exactly what they want and need. And they don't. And I don't say that in a condescending way, because I am the same way, right? I go to get something and I'm like, I don't totally know what I'm doing here. That's why I'm talking to, whoever it is. I'm talking to you, right? To help me make a decision. Yeah. So even if I might tell you one thing, and then as you ask discovery questions, it might uncover, oh, wait, that's not even true. I don't believe that. I don't want that. I don't need that. Whatever that might be. And so it is like it's a little bit like therapy, because you're uncovering some stuff, right? You're taking off layers and being like, let's distill this down to the core of what you need, what you want, what's important to you, what are you trying to solve here? And people probably do not know straight out of the gate. And if they did, they would just go, they wouldn't talk to you. No. They would just go buy it.
That's why you go, exactly. I'm so glad you said that. And it is like therapy, and it is National Mental Health Month.
Is it?
It is National Mental Health Month. So
let's go.
All of you who pay therapists, good for you.
Yay, therapist.
I have 3, I think.
3?
I told you my little joke. Yeah.
I think you told me this once, actually.
Well, yeah, my little joke is I call my therapist my coach because it makes me sound less broken.
Oh, yeah.
That's my little phrase.
It's my coach, life coach.
But it's so true that people need guided, and it never stops. Mm-hmm, I just had a business coaching session with a coach yesterday. And, I teach this shit for a living.
Yeah, right.
And he's talking me through this thing. I'm like, oh, my God, I do that. I never even noticed that I do this thing. That's bad. And I'm like, I need to change that or work on that. So that's why, like you said, that's why I came to you. I love you said that. If you played the tape back, Margaret said, talking to a salesperson and they say, what do you want? I don't know. That's why I came to you. You've got to be a guide for people. They need that more than ever these days. People have no idea what they want.
Well, because there's so many choices, options.
Right? Too much information.
There's a lot of noise. So you're there to help them kind of, put on those blinders in a good way to help them focus up. And also, side note for you, it makes your job so much more interesting and fun.
Oh, totally.
Like, can you imagine you're just like punching a ticket? You know what I mean? Like that, no. But to get really interested in someone else and kind of help them, because it's exciting for you. You're a part of the process as well.
Yes.
And that's way more fun.
It's way more fun. And so if this is a struggle for you, ask yourself the wonder why question. I wonder why this is a struggle for me. I wonder what I'm afraid of here. Because there can be some resistance things. Fear of making a mistake, fear of like picking the wrong thing, maybe fear of being found out. I don't know everything. That's a huge thing.
That's true.
The phrase imposter syndrome. It's a very old phrase, but very true. We're like, so there's resistance around this. What we're saying today is you got to get through that resistance because you have to be a guide and advisor. And I'm a big fan with this subject. The last thing I'll say is you need to take a stand. Yeah. You need to say definitively, based on what you're telling me, Margaret, you do not need to buy that stove.
Yeah, exactly.
Take a stand. And people go, if I said that to you, what would you do? You'd go, okay.
Yeah, right.
Well, okay. Well, he said, right. And if you're a couple, if you and Derek are there, you'd both be like, shoot. Or if Derek really want to buy it and you want like, look, he knows what he's talking about. He does this for a living. He told us it's a waste of money. Exactly. It's like, people love that. It's real valuable. Yeah. Really valuable.
I agree. And people might, I think sometimes people might be a little bit scared too, because it's like you might make that stand. They might say, I disagree with you.
Yes.
That's okay.
Okie dokie.
That's fine. I can sleep at night because I've tried as best as I can to help you make the best decision. Ultimately, it is up to them though. And I tell people that too sometimes in a sales conversation. I'll be like, here's what I would do. This is what I think is the best decision. However, ultimately, the choice is yours.
Yep. We'll go with what your money, your contract in the end. I'm not going to make you sign a contract you don't want to sign. Yeah. Good stuff. You like it.
Awesome.
All right. We'll see you next time. Okay. Sales Unscripted Podcast. Cheers.
Bye, guys.
Bye.